Here.
Beth Collins Fisk, Sherry Waddington, Chris Mailing,
Here.
Annette Salette,
Here.
Barb Rose, Bernie Seiler,
Here.
Linda Carroll, Dave Waddington,
Here.
Devin Johnson,
Here.
Sean Coakley, Tondra Frisbee, and Larry Redden.
Larry's a speech too.
Is he okay?
Yeah, doing better.
Is he coming back, you think?
Eventually, we're hoping. Looking at January's minutes. Any corrections or deletions?
I move we accept.
Second.
Devin seconded.
I second that.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
No guests.
No guests here?
I'll start just with the ice rink since Tondra's on her way here for the other couple items there. But we had planned on closing the Savista Bank ice rink on Martin Luther King weekend. We kept it open for another week after that. We ran into some staffing challenges and some weather challenges, so we were also in the midst of filling the ice rink at Whiteman Weaver Park to get that full, so the real ice would be ready to go. Unfortunately, Mother Nature has said this year that she doesn't want ice skating on real ice for us this year, and same has happened out in Curran. Their ice rink is, they've had 0 days for real ice there either, but it is set up. We have a liner down out of Whiteman Weaver. We'll take a look at it and see what the weather's going to be like for the next couple of weeks, but we may not get any time on that ice. But we're also looking at possibly some pop-up days on the Savista, back at the Savista rink, because of, it's still there. We hadn't taken it down yet, so we'll see if we can get some staffing for that to maybe do a couple pop-up days out there at the pier. But yeah, it hasn't been, as you know, it's been a normal Ohio winter with 50 degrees one day, 10 degrees the next day, and then back up and down and up and down. So we'll take a look at it for what we would do next year with the real ice and our hours. I know Annette would probably want to talk a little bit about the numbers that we've had so far.
Sure. I've attached a report from our daily rink totals, revenue that so far we've brought in $2,410. I did a breakdown between cash and credit card for anybody who wanted to see that. And our numbers at this point, we've had 976 skaters. Last year, for the same amount of time, we had about, I think our numbers were 475. So we did see an increase. We closed 6 days of our schedule. We closed due to high winds or cold weather. So,
High winds down there?
none at all. So, we have another advisory tomorrow too, so I figure that'll be another great day of windiness there, so that's just the numbers that we have thus far. And then we're planning, as we get ready to put it away, the trailer should be here. 2 weeks? 2 weeks we'll have the trailer. So we will crate back up our flooring, our underlayment, and our skates will go in there. And it looks like we'll probably put our dashboards at the golf course, store them out there. So we have some room out there.
Last year, I want to say we got like 2 or 3 weeks of real ice time out at Whiteman Weaver.
Yeah.
And, yeah, this year's been a little tough. Any questions on the 2 ice rinks?
Annette, do you get comments from people relative to what they thought of the, quote, ice?
I would say this year's, the rink that we purchased in comparison to the rink that we rented last year, there's been positive comments about it. This system that we did purchase, it definitely is dependent on your maintenance. So we do have the downtown realm gentlemen who do go ahead. We have the floor machine that we purchased to clean that, and then we have what we call, it's an enhancer, and it's like a heavy Vaseline, so it makes it slick, so that you can go ahead and you glide a lot better. So we've gotten a lot of positive comments. Obviously, it takes a little bit more effort to skate on it than real ice, but we have not had any. I think probably in the times that I've been down there, I think I've only had one person that complained that it was plastic ice.
From personal experience, if you go on it right after it's been treated, or they do the
Enhancer on it, it's
enhancer on
really slick.
It's real slippery.
It is really slippery.
I stopped down, we're talking to some people that were there, and certainly positive feedback that it's possible to skate, obviously, because
Right.
it's not. So I think it's as good as we can get.
Right. I think they like the aesthetics of it. They like that it's enclosed complete by dasher boards. I think that makes a difference. I think they feel that versus what we had last year, which just had the bike rack type outer edging, I think that makes a difference.
It looks like
a rink.
That's important.
It is important, so those things are important that way, so that does make a difference.
It's a great setting, obviously, too.
It is, like I said, it is, and especially when you have events down there, that is a very busy place, so. We did do some special skates this year. We offered it up to Gentlemen's Club and Leading Ladies, so they came and skated on a Wednesday, which was not a typical day that we opened, and they ended up having about 20 kids, and those kids said, wow, we didn't realize this was as nice as it was. So, like I said, we'll offer that again. We did have the special ed class from the high school come over, which they really enjoyed that. And we are going to segue into, we're going to bring them out to the golf course as well. So we're going to incorporate some golf components that way too, so.
Well, if Jason was demonstrating more, maybe we could get some more people.
Probably keep people off of it. If you notice, the Friday, December 9th, 10th, and 11th, that was a special event we had out there
Right.
that brought a lot of people in, and then the free skate from Savista on January 5th was another spike with 77
Right.
skaters that day.
And I was down there the night of the fireworks. It was very busy down there as well too.
That's at 62, right?
62?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tandra, we went to C, and if you want to talk about A and B.
Sorry for being late. It feels like I haven't been here forever, so bear with me.
Great to see you.
Yeah, it's good to be seen. So our winter break camp and our school programming was just well attended. Winter break camp was amazing. Our out of school programming is also just really well received by the parents there and the kids, but the parents are really being vocal. I think Linda shared a story about one young lady who's new to the group and how the impact of our programming has had on this young lady. And our numbers are, I think we have about 90 kids registered for the out-of-school programming, but on an average, about 30 kids attend, a core group of 30. Our winter break camp is always up to close to 100 kids that come on those dates. And so moving, I don't know, anybody got any questions about? Oh, wait, I want to add something though. Out of school, we got a new program alert that is really exciting with the health department, and you can Health Department in Guidestone with the mental health piece that we're going to be offering our kids starting tomorrow. The Health Department has been involved since the 17th of January with their program. It's a collaboration, of course, and it's called Imagine, Discover, and Grow, where every child thrives and succeeds. So it's going to be like 2 parts. And our older kids will get 30 minutes, and our younger kids will get 30 minutes every Thursday of some kind of component, whether it's all mental health, and then there's basic hygiene and health department type things. But I'm excited about that. And it's a waiver that has to be signed, so the parents are aware of what their kids will be involved in on Thursdays, and they're open to it, and was really excited about offering these kids another piece of programming that they're not used to getting. So I'm glad to be doing that. Chris, you want?
And I would just add that this is a result of a meeting that we had for the South Side project. And there were at least a handful of students at that point in time that were asking for that kind of help. So
Yep.
Tonder and I heard it, and we said we need to deliver on this. So we started the process, and the train's moving down the track.
Yes, it
I'm
is.
Can't wait to hear after this 8-week session what kind of response we get from it. But so far everything's been positive. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep. And now moving on to B, we got Midtown Supper Club updates. We are 2 weeks shy of the big monumental event of Season 5, Midtown Supper Club meets New Orleans. We would love for the rec board to be a part of that event. The tickets are on sale. There are some seats available for a sponsored table. I think there might be 2 seats available at a sponsored table that would be no cost. Yeah, so, I mean, it's gonna, we have a pretty packed, it's a pretty packed event that's gonna happen. They have the culinary group that's gonna be comprised of about 29 kids, I think it is, of 2 different classes, Mondays and Tuesday classes, and those are led by Chef Brad Kraft and Chef Benny V. They're doing an amazing menu, New Orleans themed menu, and then we have the Make It So Easy sewing group that's going to be creating the costumes that the theater group will be wearing, and that theater group is led by Curtis Brown, and then we have the music that's led by Sean Daly, and that is going to be a second line parade. Then we have dance with in motion with Morgan Johnson is doing a dance majorette style performance, all while this food and all this New Orleans vibe is going on. So you want to be there. You don't want to miss this. February 21st is Fat Tuesday. That's the day it's going down. Doors open at 5:30. Everything happens at 6, and it's going to be pretty good program. I'm looking forward to that. And then we can breathe a little bit before spring break happens. I think that's all I got. Am I missing anything, Chris?
I think so.
Anything on old business? Any questions? All right, on new business, we just wrapped up the annual OPRA conference that happens right in our backyard at Kalahari. There's some positives and negatives of having it so close. You know, we don't have to go very far. We can sleep in our own beds. But it's a networking event as well, finding out what other Parks and Rec groups from across the state are doing. Erie Metro Parks received a major award for their Now Mobile, the Nature on Wheels, that has been part of they used a lot of our footage, or their footage of our programs with the kids.
Oh.
And they received a first place award for that, and we're up for the Governor's Award. And there's a dinner to honor them for that. We added a little bit to this year it was Chris, Annette, and I at the conference, and then during the vendor show, we had the guys from Greenhouse, Public Realm, and Grounds come out to kind of get an idea of what vendors were available out there, and we were able to make some connections as far as some demos of equipment. So in the future, as we get in needing more equipment, we can have an idea of what the cost is going to be and what would be needed and how it could kind of help, stuff that's being made brand new, replacing some old equipment. So that was very beneficial for the conference there. And then that wrapped up Wednesday afternoon, and we were back working Wednesday afternoon. I know I was back to answering about 250 emails, but it was a good conference. There's sessions throughout the entire 3 days that you kind of pick and choose what you want to go into, and I felt like the things that I went into were very good choices for this year. Some years you go in and you don't really get that same experience, but I don't know if Annette or Chris had any comments on OPRA.
No,
but-
I would agree. I think there was a lot of great information to take home and things that we can implement in our department in particular. But I do want to do a shout out to both you and Annette. I heard nothing but positive feedback of the guys from the other departments that are now under our umbrella for including them in that, and they really appreciated that. So kudos to the two of you and having them out for that event that day.
We had a grant workshop that I went to, so hopefully we'll be able to find some more grant money that'll help offset some of the costs of the things that we have. Sorry.
I attended a couple of the operational workshops, just on areas of like, we talked about, I went to a workshop that dealt with controlled burns to see if that was something we'd like to implement in, like we have a couple of the areas we have the nature areas where we have to take them down to that point. Just a lot of detail that goes into it. At this point, I don't think it's very appropriate for our situation. So we're going to do another option with that. I have to admit, I did see like a sense of energy that we all of us, both on the grounds, greenhouse, and that the other individuals who came, because they were able to interact with vendors that they mainly have only talked to them on the phone. And making that personal contact, I think, is always positive. I mean, we made a contact with our current uniform individual, Cintas, and I think we're getting somewhere with that, just making those individual contacts. This year, I thought there were over 600 vendors in the vendor show, so I think somebody walked away with something at it. And obviously, we know that we can't get everything, but you always create that list so that if by chance you can pick up something along the way, it's worth it, so.
Anything else on OPRA? Tandra, should mention you were at conference as well, if you want to give a.
Oh, yeah, so I was able to attend the CADCA, C-A-D-C-A conference in DC. And it's a youth prevention and kind of mental health conference, and it was awesome. These young people that were there were so brave and courageous, and they had this drive, I guess you want to say, to do some policy changing as it relates to what the youth are. What's in place now as far as their mental health, as far as what they experience in school, their rights. It was pretty awesome to see. And we had a Capitol Hill day where everyone went to Capitol Hill and talked to some. I didn't attend that piece, but the youth went, and there's a lot of pictures of them being. Young people are so empowered and courageous these days that it's pretty cool to watch it in person. Especially like they were middle school and high schoolers. So I'm hoping that the little humans that we have at Mills will follow that lead and have a voice. But it was 4 days of It was a long, but I did get to, I did have a nice hotel room, and shout out to the County Health Department for sponsoring me to go on that. But it was a lot of things that I brought back that I'm hopeful to implement into our programming moving forward, and some great speakers. Yeah, so it was great. I hated I missed Oprah.
She wasn't there.
She didn't give away any cards.
She did.
Mm-mm.
All right. Moving on.
Put a lid on it.
Put a lid on it. Bike helmet grant, that is the American Pediatrics, and we've been involved with that for the last, probably, well, I think since I actually came here, so this will be our 5th year working with them. I am actually a member of the coalition. They formed a coalition here this year where they're trying to get some input on areas, how that we can distribute bike helmets. And as a coalition member, it actually helps us because we can get more helmets if you become involved. They said they would give us additional helmets. We've had a Zoom meeting. There will be another workshop in Columbus because they're out of Columbus, working with that. So it's basically, they just want to get bike helmets into hands of kids, and they want them to use them. So in past, we've used them at Safety Town. We've used them at Bike with the Blue. We did that last year, where we had the bike rides with the police officers, and any child who participated got a bike helmet. We are starting our summer planning already. We've already had our Safety Town meeting and our Touch-a-Truck meeting, and from the consensus of that committee, this year we're going to write the grant to have a table, and we're going to ask for 600 bike helmets and distribute them at Touch-a-Truck. That was the recommendation of the committee that we're working with. So that grant is due March 3rd, so we'll be getting that one, and then they're just kind of coming up our way. I will touch on the grant. We just got our executed grant from Ohio Department of Natural Resources, the NatureWorks grant for the path, the cart path. So that has just been executed, so we can move forward on the cart path. Weather is going to be one of those questionable things. It would have been nice if we could have gotten to it when the ground was frozen, but I don't think that's going to happen. So we're going to take a look at how we can go ahead and get that cart path implemented. So we will be using some capital dollars in addition to the money we received from the NatureWorks grant. And then we're working on a couple additional ones. Obviously, the Waitman Weber Foundation grant for Safety Town as well.
So what's the projection for the cart path?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Right at this point, we have to watch because of heavy equipment on the course, and we don't want to rut up the course to the point where we're going to be replacing damage. If we could have gotten to it when it was frozen and at least gotten in and done the base dig out, would have been ideal. But of course, any grant, you can't begin anything until you get that executed contract. When we received it when I was at OPRA, so.
There may be some additional hazards to avoid.
Yeah, so,
There's enough of them out there.
yeah. Have we been here, have we had a meeting since we had our visitor from Cleveland Metro Parks?
Yes.
We did? Okay.
It was that day. I think it was later that day.
Yeah, it was that day, wasn't it? Gotcha. Couldn't remember.
Well, for Movies by the Bay and Movies in the Park, we're looking to possibly the Whiteman Weaver Foundation for a grant for that. We went to the Kids Fest committee in years past, but now that Kids Fest is back up and running after the pandemic, we're going to go look at having that grant go through the foundation instead. The Movies in the Park would be a couple pop-up movies throughout the season. We've got power now at Lions Park that we can take the movie screen over there. And I think our first movie we'd show there is The Lion King because it just fits. Trying to do something like that in May, and then getting our Movies by the Bay series that would start Mondays in June. And then that usually wraps up by around Touch a Truck. So we'll get a schedule out for that. And then the fastest event this side of the Mississippi, the Easter egg hunt, is coming up April 8th. And we're working with Rotary again on that. I was going to bring a flyer, but I will send it all out to you. There's a Facebook event for it already. Vacation Land Federal Credit Union gave us a bunch of their supplies and decorations and even some giveaways because they're not going to be doing theirs this year. So Heather Gilchrist from Vacation Land Federal Credit Union reached out to donate a bunch of eggs, I think about 2,000 eggs, some, like I said, some direct decorations, some signage. We're looking to really, I say it's the fastest event because those of you that have been there, we spend an hour and a half putting out eggs. They spend 5 minutes picking them up, and it's over. But we're going to work with the Marigara Museum as well to have the Easter Bunny go over to the Marigara Museum after the event, and they'll have free entry with like dollar rides for kids on that day, so we can extend a little bit. We used to have the movie at the State Theater right afterwards. Hopefully that'll come back once the State Theater's back.
Jason, is there any power out to Foxborough, out there at Foxborough Park?
We'd have to check. I don't know if there's enough power for the screen, but
Yeah.
that could be something like a generator situation. Maybe we get somebody to provide a generator for that day if we're going to do it out there.
Okay.
Trying to think if the shelter has, I know,
I don't think
it has a plug.
There's enough room out there. There's enough space out there.
Oh, it's a crazy space at Foxborough. Behind the shelters, there's a baseball field over there too.
We could also see if the apartments have any sort of power hookup, external power.
You gotta go out there.
I don't. I go to work and I go home.
Yeah.
But yeah, any other suggestions on movies? We've talked about with the JC basketball courts and updating that, they're having power there so we could run, like Space Jam or something out at JC and do a movie night out there. And then there's a basketball tournament in late July that we'd like to have all that set up. Somebody contacted me about doing a basketball tournament out there. Any questions on the Easter egg hunt? We will take any volunteers who want to help with putting eggs out there.
I'll be gone this year. Actually, I'm flying back in today.
So it should be a good event. Any questions on that, or should we go to open discussion for Barb? Barb, any open discussion?
We are doing our Shamrock Scramble again at Mills, Saturday, March 18th, 10 a.m. It'll be not just a 9-hole tourney, so I'm going to get ready to get that advertised on Facebook. We usually do really well with that one because everybody's antsy to get out for that tournament. So I think last year we did it. We didn't do it last year. 2 years ago, we didn't do it last year because we got snowed out last year. I believe
time
we
would that
had 14 teams,
What time would that normally kick off?
10.
10, okay. Because we've also talked about the Love Where You Live and doing a cleanup at it. Yeah, so it'd be the 25th.
25th?
Yeah.
I believe we have nothing on that, so that'd be awesome.
Do a community cleanup, walk around the course. Yeah.
No, I'll be there.
Sure. I'll be there.
Just open this.
Yep.
Okay, since you're on the greenhouse element.
Yeah.
What about the Pike Creek pathway, like when I stopped and talked to you yesterday, that needs redone back to the cells? That roadway, because ladies are still doing the rowing, the rowing
Yeah.
club's back down there now. And then what was the ramp going for kayaks?
It's usually weather-related, but it's either 1st of April, maybe May. It went on early last year. So you're saying they need a better surface going out in the stone?
Yeah, it needs redone. It's been probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Because they had it washed out the one time and they had to fix that the one time. All right.
This has a little bit to do with it. Do we put a bid out for the, are they called docs or every year?
No, it was on a 2-year, and this is at the end of this, I believe it's over at the end of this year, December 2023.
Then it goes out again?
So they'll be putting them in one time and then taking them out one time, and then we'd have to have an RFP, I believe, for the next contract on that. And they did work out really well this past year with the fishing tournament. They left them in as long as they could, and, with the weather staying warm, they were able to keep them in there until the end of the fall brawl.
These guys are awesome down there in that boat ramp.
Yeah, Steve and Tammy. You have anything else for open? Anything else for open discussion?
No, I thought it's just, one of them out there. We're gonna-
Okay. We'll get on that.
Anything else?
I do. I would like to remind everyone that tickets are still available for Midtown Supper Club. Season 5 meets New Orleans. Individual tickets are $30, 2 for $55, and tables of 8 are $220. I have 4 tables left available. It would be nice if we could sell out the entire program and show support for these young people that have been working really, really hard to put on this event for you guys. It is a fundraiser, so all proceeds go to the Sandusky Rec Scholarship Program.
What's on the menu?
Excuse me?
What's on the menu?
The menu, would you like to know? So we have the Southern cheesiest cheddar biscuits. We have, what is it? It is the crab and corn chowder with or without Southern crab corn chowder with or without crab. That's the entree. That's the appetizer. Our entree is the penne pasta jambalaya with andouille sausage and a skewer of toasted and seasoned shrimp. And then for the finale, it is an eternal flaming bananas Foster's presentation by the chefs, and it will be served tableside. On the table, you will have some Southern sweet tea to drink and a lot of performance from our youth.
Oh, we're going to bring up the next one.
Easy peasy. Tickets, get them today.
Available online, cityofsandusky.com/recreation.
Yeah.
Anything else on?
Motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Barb, second.
Is that it?